Seb Fry the Realtor here. And did you know that most homeowners end up leaving $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 or more on the table when they go to sell their homes? And that's because most homeowners don't put their property into tip-top shape before they put it on the market. And it's easy to see why, because that can be complicated, time-consuming, and expensive unless you're partnering up with Compass and Revive. In this video, I'm going to show you how you as a homeowner can very easily and quickly and with no cash out of pocket get your home into tip-top shape so it sells for absolutely top dollar. Trust me, folks, you're definitely going to want to watch this video. Hey there, I'm Seb Fry. I am with Compass, and I'm very excited to be doing this Q&A session with Jameson Hanson of, hey Jameson, of Revive. And I've been working with Compass now for several years, and one of the reasons I came to Compass in the first place was because of their concierge program. And recently, Compass has partnered up with Revive to kind of offered concierge on steroids. It's a very exciting program that we are now offering, and Jameson is with Revive, and he is a property advisor. And Jameson, let me just start out first by asking you, what exactly is a property advisor at Revive?
Yes, thank you for having me. Great question. As a property advisor, I'm your first point of contact. May you be an agent or homeowner, but as soon as you bring a property to us that is in need of pre-sale renovations or could benefit from pre-sale renovations, I'm going to first start to discuss with you your goals. What do you hope to get out of working with Revive? How much do you think your home is worth? And then we get into the nitty gritty, the fun part. We start budgeting and scoping a project, looking at, should we update the flooring? Should we tear out the kitchen and start from scratch? Maybe bring in a beautiful new double vanity into the primary bathroom. Whatever it may be, everything we do is rooted in ROI. So my job is to make sure that we have a realistic after renovated value, or ARV. So when your agent brings your home to market, it sells quickly and it sells at the price you want. And to be honest, my favorite part of my job is to help homeowners maximize the profits when they go to sell their property.
Okay, terrific. So, but Jameson, wouldn't it just be easier to sell the home as is? I hear that a lot from people. They just say, I just want to sell my home as is. Isn't that like a lot easier than renovating?
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, Seb, too, selling as is might sometimes be the best route, but our core competency is going to be pre-sale renovations. And we call ourselves the HGTV generation, buyers now are interested in turnkey properties. Turnkey properties sell faster, they sell for more than their as-is or non-renovated counterparts. On average, actually, homeowners leave about 15 to 20% of their home values on the table when selling as-is. Recent NAR stat tells us that about 7 in National Association of Realtors, that is, about 7 in 10 home buyers, about 70% of home buyers would sacrifice square footage in turn for moving into a turnkey home. So they're willing to sacrifice size, but families today just want to move into a beautiful, updated turnkey home that they can start enjoying day one.
Okay, terrific. So what areas do you service? I mean, I'm here in the South Bay area. Are you all throughout California or the nation, or where are you operating?
Yes, great question. So I'd actually encourage people to visit our website, where we have a very accurate and constantly updated coverage map, so you can see exactly what services and programs we have available to you. Our headquarters, or our base of operations, is in Orange County, California. So we proudly service the entire West Coast. But then we also have a great footprint in the Washington, D.C. area, Austin, Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth. And we actually have one program called Revive Light, which is available in all 50 states.
Oh, okay. So Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, Santa Cruz County, Monterey, San Benito, Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, all these places are all on the West Coast. So you definitely service all of those areas.
Yeah, and one thing I always want to put a caveat on that, it depends on contractor availability too. We're continuously adding new general contractors and service providers to our network. Most of them are going to be located or centrally located in a metro area and are willing to drive an hour to an hour and a half. However, our Revive Light program, and then we actually are working really hard to expand that GC network, would allow us to go into those more rural or distant communities if we don't have a GC close to, where that property is located.
Okay.
However, working with Compass, we're just really excited to use some of their existing partnerships and vendors so we can continue to service, to be honest, every square mile of California.
Okay, terrific. Good answer. Good answer. All right. So, what types of renovation and construction do you do? And is there anything that you don't do?
Yeah, excellent question. So we do pretty much all types of renovations except for ground up construction. So flooring, painting, full demoing, even modifying, walls and space planning in a home, exterior, anything from siding to landscaping to roofing. We've even resurfaced pools and such before. But long story short, as long as it's not ground up construction like a new building or an actual addition, we'll probably take it on.
Okay. All right. And, a lot of homeowners, especially ones who have had their house for 20 or 30 years, a lot of them have like a favorite contractor that they've worked with on their house over the time. Can they use their own contractor or like plumber or whatever? Or
Yeah, so it's definitely it's not a yes, but it's not a no. We are very proud of the contractor network we have in place because they're all vetted and insured. And the contractors we work with love the support and guidance we provide. My father is personally a contractor, and he loves the idea of being able to just, you know, delegate the scoping, budgeting, the pulling the permits, the quality control, all of the kind of back end office stuff to someone like us so he can focus on what he does best, and that's building things. However, if you have some trusted service providers that are competitive in pricing, they do quality work, they insure their work, I would love to put you in touch with our production team. And we have a very efficient onboarding process. We can have a new service provider onboarded and pretty much trained in, ready to work within Revive as little as a week or two. So the answer is we prefer to work with our contractors, but we're also constantly adding new people so we can help more people at the same amount of time.
so I know a lot of folks are going to wonder, like, if you have the contractors and you prefer to use those contractors, how does their pricing compare to other contractors that are around?
Yes, this is my favorite question because no matter how good we are, people are always curious about what's it going to cost. And so I'm going to answer that by saying two things. One, we hold our contractors to very just strict expectations and standards, not only when it comes to pricing, but speed and quality of work. Because of all the support we're providing them, they actually are completing a project in 6 to 8 weeks, where a contractor that's running his or her back office and doing all the work might take them 4 to 5 months. But with that said, we're always tailoring our pricing and our approach to the market that we're actually working in. And we actually so with our partnerships with our contractors, we negotiate wholesale pricing and discounts on their labor. And so they actually pay us for the work that we do. And so with doing that, homeowners are actually getting like the full suite of services that like a design build firm would charge, but it's actually going to be less, if not more competitive, because we've partnered with the contractor together. Our success is their success. And two, at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we can renovate these homes and create a profit. If we're charging too much, then we're already stealing the margin, and that's just not our business model.
Okay, well, that sounds incredible. It sounds like Revive is really doing a lot of work, and so that kind of like begs the question, like, how does Revive actually make money?
Yeah, no, excellent question. Not to sound redundant, but it kind of goes back to our relationships with our contractors. So if you were to apply to have us come in and renovate a property for you, and we don't do any credit checks, it's not a loan, there's no service fees or interest or anything. We front all of the money, and then when your house lists, we do put a deed of trust on the property to secure the money that we're borrowing to you, but we get actually paid at the close of escrow and we get paid from the contractor. So when we're calculating what the value add is of each project, it's super cool because let's say we put $100,000 into an $800,000 property and it sells for 1.2 million. That three extra $100,000 in profit goes 100% to the homeowners. And so our contractors pay us for the support we're providing them because we're bringing them these consistent qualified jobs and opportunities.
Right. Yeah. So the contractors are paying you for the value that you bring, and it sounds like you actually really bring a lot of value. Now, how long do these projects take? I mean, are these like months long? I mean, we talk about moving walls and all that. What's your average project length?
Yeah, so right now, I'm glad you asked that. I just checked with our executive team a few days ago, and in 2022, we averaged 6 to 8 weeks. And that is, we have no minimums or no maximums. Our average project is probably about 2 to 300K, but because of all of the guidance and support, the structure we're providing, the high expectations and standards we have for our contractors, it allows us to bust those projects out in 6 to 8 weeks. However, we've done renovations as large as $1 million. And so obviously that's going to take, multiple months, 3, 4 months, if not longer, just because of this, nature of the work. But something I always like to share with people is we're always doing things to code. We always want to make sure that we pull the proper permits if needed, but we try to do as many improvements, surface level enhancements to the property where we don't actually have to pull permits. Because, as you know, Seb, being experienced realtor, like permits are important. You got to follow the law and do your due diligence, but they can be very time consuming. So whenever our designers are scoping a project and putting together renderings, we try to do it in a way that avoids having to pull permits, which allows us to be faster to the market.
Right. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the permits thing because that is in fact very important, and time is money, right? So if you're doing a lot of stuff that's going to require a lot of permitting, you could easily miss the market while you're waiting to get all that stuff done. So it sounds like, I mean, if we're talking even just 6 to 8 weeks for a project, what happens to the homeowner while all that's going on? Can the homeowner live there, or do they have to like go to a hotel, or how does that work?
Yes, great question. So almost 100% of the time, we ask the homeowner for their safety and for liability reasons to relocate. We want the place to be vacant while it's getting renovated. And that also allows us to move quicker so our contractors aren't having to work around other bodies and their personal belongings and such. But with projects that are 100,000 renovations or more, and we're actually we're working on potentially creating other solutions for homeowners. But as of right now, if your renovation is 100,000 or more, we can advance you up to $15,000 for relocation fees and expenses. So may that be, a long stay hotel or an Airbnb. We're the ones who are kind of asking you to leave. So we want to provide you with the resources you need to comfortably relocate your family while the project's being done.
Oh, wow. Wow, that is terrific. Now, how about the design process? Like, what is that like? Does the homeowner get to like work with you and like figure out the scope, or how does all that come together?
Yeah, absolutely. And Seb, I want to make a little note here. I would love to send you an example of our design presentations that we prepare for each single property. These are very cool for a couple reasons. One, our designers and our production team put a lot of time and effort into it. We always ask clients, agents, and homeowners to lean in on our expertise, because we've done over 1,500 projects, pre-sale renovation related. And so we kind of have not only buyers' desires, but trends and just hotter ticket items like dialed in. So we kind of know what sells because we're not going to, put in a certain feature, fixture, or design element that people don't really like, because our job is to appeal to the masses and to the buyers who want turnkey homes. But to answer your question directly, yes, at the end of the day, the homeowner is still in the driver's seat because it's your home, it's your property. And if we're looking through our design deck and you see, the countertop we picked out, or the vanity in the primary bathroom, or even like the shade of carpet, like we definitely want to hear your feedback. And our designers are they're talented, but they're also very compassionate. So typically they're going to prepare like solutions or alternatives in kind of in advance to be proactive. And so when we come to the homeowner with that final like design presentation, we'll almost have like an ABC option prepped and ready so they feel like they're empowered to make some decisions and they feel, to be honest, they're just involved in the process because, like I said, it's still their home.
So just kind of as an aside, how long does the design process take? Is this something that takes like, I mean, a lot of times design takes a long time. Is this like a week-long process, a month-long? How long does it typically take to come up with a plan to get the house renovated?
Great question. So back to kind of one of our core values is speed and velocity. And so from the day you and I meet, if you're my agent or you and I meet for the first time as a homeowner, we have a series of kind of benchmarks we have to go to, from design to budget, and then also scheduling and then final underwriting of the actual agreement. But we typically try to have everything scoped, designed, ready for the homeowner's eyes within 5 to 7 business days.
Oh,
And once we get the approval from the homeowner, our contractors have been instructed to bring, Revive properties to the top of their to-do list. So typically, once that homeowner agreement is signed, the design is approved of, we start within 5 to 7 additional business days. So usually, if everything's going according to plan, from the first conversation we have about your property to the day the contractor starts work, it's hopefully no more than 10 to 14 business days.
wow, that is fast. So it sounds like you guys have some pretty great service level agreements with your contractor network to make sure that Revive projects are prioritized. Because that's one thing I hear from a lot of homeowners, like, oh, I hired a contractor and he never shows up. Right? He comes, he starts the job, and then he takes a week off waiting for something to happen. It sounds like that is not so much an issue when you're working with Revive.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be honest, like construction's construction, we take a lot of pride in how much planning and preparation we do on the front end so we can avoid delays, hidden expenses, or just obstacles. So everything is on a case to case basis. But beyond helping homeowners maximize their profits and get the most return on their investment, or excuse me, on their greatest asset they might ever have, which is their home, we want to just improve the home selling experience, because anyone who's bought and sold a home, or someone who's moved, it's stressful. It creates a lot of anxiety. And if we can help subside or decrease that worry and anxiety, and just make it a more joyful process, fast, painless process, plus we help them walk away with more profits, like it's a win-win. So I would say just as much as like we're pushing fast and we're trying to get this done for the homeowner in a timely manner, we always have a sense of urgency. More importantly, we want to make sure it's done right. So if that means, the contractor has to do a second walkthrough, maybe that we have to consult one of our production specialists because there's maybe evidence of mold in the property, or there's just a really unique layout. We're wanting to put together contingencies and plan for that, because one of these, I'm kind of going on to maybe a next question, but one of the things that we just love celebrating in the Revive, office, is we have a less than 2% change order percentage. And what I mean by that is we're doing so much planning and prep on the front end that less than 2% of our projects have had a change order. And anyone who knows construction or real estate knows that that's where it gets really expensive. And to be honest, I'll pick on my dad once again because he's a general contractor. That's where they make a majority of their money. And so for us, we want to be really transparent and proactive, and it saves everyone money and it saves people headaches down the road.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you about change orders because that does seem to come up with just about every project you get so far. Then you're like, you know what? let's do X, Y, or Z. But there's also, you mentioned mold, right? I mean, like there's also unforeseen, issues with the condition of the property that could come up. So how is all that handled?
Yeah, excellent question. So, and this is where our relationships with our agents, with our partners, with our brokers is really important, because the better communication we have, kind of the more projects we do together, we develop a friendship, we develop trust and rapport. So we always encourage our agents, if there's certain, inspections, may it be mold or termites or something you want to do on the front end, we definitely encourage that. But let's say our contractor starts doing some demo and discovers some mold or asbestos. I actually had a property recently up in the Bay Area where this happened. The first thing we do is stop, assess the situation, obviously contact the agent, the homeowner, and our contractor then connects with our production team to quickly decide what is the best course of action. What kind of contingency plan do we have in place? And then we'll be very transparent. If it's really widespread and we have to do it properly, we're going to contact the homeowner and say our sincerest apologies, but we're going to have to get this remediated, and it's going to push our timeline 2 to 3 weeks. But still will allow us to achieve that desired ARV. Unfortunately, we'll just have to list it a few weeks later.
Yeah. And when people hear mold and asbestos, they oftentimes get kind of freaked out. But I've dealt with a lot of mold and asbestos, and it's, in all cases, it's a solvable problem. And it's just one of those speed bumps along the way that you sometimes come across. So speaking of ARV and all that, I mean, does Revive, are you guys able to in any way like guarantee a certain return or profit margin on the work that you guys do?
No, so to be honest, like we never make a guarantee, just because that would be dishonest and unfair. And that's, once again, I want to come back to our relationships with our agents and brokers. And whenever we look at a property, we're always going to lean on our agents to be the local experts, to be the experienced professionals to determine what is a fair ARV, based on, comps in the area, research, market trends. And, everyone knows, in the last few months, let's call it September, October, over November, when we started seeing home values decrease, interest rates increase, unfortunately, we can't look at comps that are from summer of 2022, because now in February of 2023, the market is a completely different animal. And so, there's times where we'll have, friendly debates and we'll kind of negotiate. But at the end of the day, it's our job to work with the agent to bring realistic expectations to the homeowner when deciding what we should list it for when the renovations are over. But unfortunately, we don't have a crystal ball, and we definitely don't want to predict the future of the real estate market, because no one reasonably can.
Yeah, that is totally true. I mean, the market is a little choppy right now, and that's one thing that speaks to having like a fast turnaround on these projects, which it sounds like Revive really helps the homeowners achieve that. If you're having a project that takes 6 months versus 6 weeks, it's a lot surer bet that that what the market's going to be like in 6 weeks than in 6 months, although even that is no guarantee. So yeah, have you ever seen that show on HGTV called Love It or List It? Have you ever seen that before?
Yes, I have. My wife loves it, actually.
So I've watched many episodes of that, and the premise is like, do I buy a new house, or do I like renovate my current house? And they renovate the house while they're also looking at new houses. And then when the renovation is done, the homeowner has to decide, do I love my house and want to stay, or do I list it, sell, and move? So what if that happens? I mean, like a lot of times, people are just really, they fall in love with their house all over again after it's been renovated. What happens if a homeowner decides that they want to stay and they don't want to sell?
Yes. So we've actually had this happen twice. The renovations were so beautiful. They transformed the property so much. The homeowners just requested to keep it and to buy it, because it wasn't the same house they remembered. And so since it's only happened a few times, we're taking it all on a case-to-case basis. But like for one of the homeowners, we said, okay, we're happy for you. We can make that happen. And the cost of the renovations, they paid us back for over the course of 4 months. And I think the other one, don't quote me on this, but I I would say typically we would just kind of negotiate like a little waiting period for them to find an alternative form of like financing, pull out a second mortgage, maybe do like a personal loan or something to just pay us back and our contractors for the cost of renovations. But to make a long answer short, yeah, if someone loves the work that our GCs and our designers did and they want to stay, we love that.
So what happens though, like if you put on the market and like the homeowner says, wow, now that we have done all this work to my house, I feel it's worth like $3 million. And they insist on listing it at a price that maybe is $500,000. I don't know, more over as repaired value, and it just doesn't sell. What happens in that case?
Yeah. And to be honest, this happens fairly often. We are constantly role playing and training and just, to be honest, practicing, the emotional intelligence of our property advisors to make sure that we are being empathetic towards the homeowners. But it comes back to you and I as partners, as friends, as, a team to bring, as much research, as much data, as just much homework as we can to the homeowner. So we're rooting their expectations in realistic standards. And two, sometimes it's tough because I know myself personally, if I were to sell my home, I'm going to be biased. I'm going to be emotionally attached to it. So I might not be thinking objectively, like I think, my home is probably worth more to me than what a buyer is, just because it's sentimental and I have memories there. And so typically, we're just going to rely on our agent to kind of advocate for realistic expectations, true comps. And it's all about that like ROI. Like we don't want to sell anyone a pipe dream. If someone's adamant about listing for 500K more than what the market's showing, we might just say no to the project because we at the end of the day want to be honest and we want to take projects in or take projects on that we believe in.
But like, what if they change their mind and in terms of how much they want to list it for after their work is done? I mean, do you have like a contract at the beginning which says, okay, well, we will then list it at this amount of money, or how does that all work?
Yeah. So we have kind of a homeowner declaration form and then the HIC or home improvement contract. And in that, it talks about as multiple parties working on this property together, we have agreed that based on the research we've done and the renovations we invested, this is what we're going to list it for. So yeah, by the time we get to that point, it's a pretty firm understanding between our agents and homeowners that they should list it. They need to list it for the price that we agreed upon.
And if we do list it at that agreed upon price and the market, dramatically turns or whatever, right? And it doesn't sell for whatever reason, like, is there a certain point of time at which point you have to get paid back, or how does that work?
Yeah, great question. So in our home improvement contract, we have a 12-month grace period. And so what I mean by that is you have 12 months to sell the property, close escrow, so we can get paid back for the money we invested. Our contractors are taken care of. Thankfully, I believe it's only happened once where we got to that 12-month mark. It hadn't sold yet. I think it was like a massive designer, like, 9-figure home up in Beverly Hills. So I think it was just a unique exception. But we ended up negotiating just like kind of a special payment structure or kind of financing structure for that homeowner, because we're not going to call them on day 366 and say, all right, time's up. Where's our money at? That's not what we're all about.
Got it. Okay. All right. So this all sounds actually really terrific. I love what I'm hearing. I'm very excited to like bring this to my my prospective home sellers. So how do we get started with Revive and your whole program?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing is you got my contact information. So my email, my calendar link, you're more than welcome to share that with anyone and anyone. But the best way to get started would be going to our website. And I actually have it in front of me, so I'll just kind of walk through it here verbally. But it's really easy. So depending on if you're a homeowner or agent, you just click on the Learn tab, and then there's a section for agents, for homeowners. But to be honest, it's usually best if you hit the big green button that says schedule an intro call. And that's one of my jobs as a property advisor, is to take new agents into our network or homeowners that have a property, and just have an initial conversation about their property, about you as an agent, your business, your neighborhood. What are your goals for this year? And then if things go well and you want to move forward, that's when we'll schedule a more formal property assessment to start diving into photos and then start talking about what renovations we should do. Yeah.
So would that involve like an actual in-person visit from you guys to the site? I mean, you're in Southern California somewhere. We're up here in Northern California. You wouldn't come, would you? Or how would that
Uh,
work?
I would love to. And as property advisors, we do go with our production team and do site visits because, yeah, we want to be boots on the ground and we want to make sure that we understand from firsthand experience what the vibes and what the atmosphere of our job sites are like. But typically, our relationship is going to be mostly virtual. And so, for example, one of the things we do is once I start putting together a project budget and scope, building out a line by line project list, I then send that to the general contractor that we have selected to do your project. The general contractor is then going to meet you on site, walk through the property, and with that budget in hand, make sure we're not missing anything. I have one more final meeting with our contractor, just so we both agree that the pricing we have or the costs that we've accumulated are accurate and fair and we're not missing anything. And once we have that, we'll have one last virtual Zoom meeting with the homeowners. And then if everything sounds good to them and the agent agree about the next step, we sign the HIC. And then this is actually my favorite part. Each project is assigned a homeowner's rep. So actually one of our homeowners rep, Zach, is a good friend of mine. His job is to be a liaison between the homeowner and agent and our contractor. So every week during the renovation process, Zach is keeping our contractors accountable to update you using the Revive app. It's called the Revive dashboard with written descriptions and photos of what was done that week. So you and the homeowner or the homeowner and the agent can feel involved, can feel in the loop and know what's going on throughout the process and not just, hope and pray that everything's going well. They get frequent updates. I do like to point out, though, because we have such a strong presence in San Francisco, the Bay Area, we do have a boots on the ground guy like me. He's actually way more talented and way more experienced. Matt Flynn is his name. And since we have so many projects circulating in that area, he actually is a project manager who works for Revive, who is working on site with our contractors to provide even more guidance and supervision.
So, but during the design phase, do you guys actually have like somebody come to the property, or how do you guys figure out like what would work best in the space?
Yes. So we 90% of the time we order a Matterport or a 3D scan. These Matterports, they're typically, depending on the size of the house, $300 to $400. And then once it's complete, the homeowner actually owns it because it's a pretty just cool piece of technology to have. But this is a 360-degree 3D scan of the property, and it allows us to actually remotely from our design office take measurements, look at things from different angles, and really allows our designers to manipulate the property so they can start creating those before and after renderings and give the homeowner, like, to be honest, just a really cool but fast look into the future and what their property is going to look like after renovations.
Wow.
And so the Matterport is something that we'll use amongst our contractors too, because it allows us to take measurements and to, even remove certain sections so we can envision what it would look like with a new element. But that's why we're also having our contractors walk the property before we finalize the budget, because there's nothing that replaces having real hands and real feet, boots on the ground.
So that's really interesting. So, I mean, I'm familiar with Matterport, of course. So you can actually take like a Matterport project file and like edit that to show them what it would look like after the renovation.
Yeah. So, and for our tech savvy folks out there, the Matterport program doesn't have that function, but our designers have a few other pieces of technology they use, because when that final homeowner meeting before we move to kickoff, we go through that design presentation. And so we'll create these 3D drawings kind of using, this is vague term, but like a CAM-like program to create those drawings, because not only is it helpful for the homeowner and agent to kind of start wrapping their head around it, but our designers use it as well, because until you kind of create a 3D scene, sometimes it's hard to tell, where should the vanity be placed? What colors are going to be best? Should we do a rectangular mirror or should we do an oval mirror? And yeah, so the more, how do I want to call it? Like the more paperwork we have on the front end, the better.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in front loading a project. It makes everything much easier that way. So, pardon my asking about all these technical details, but this is, Silicon Valley, and I used to be a techie. A lot of my clients are techies, and they want to know how all this stuff works. So it sounds like the Matterport data then gets imported into your design software, and from there you basically make the new renders for the property, and you do all that just sort of virtually, and you present that to the client, and you take it from there, and that's how you can achieve such a fast turnaround. That is really cool. So now I don't know, do you have any like before and after kind of like examples you can show people to kind of like get their juices flowing and get better ideas of the kind of work you guys have done?
Yeah, absolutely. If we have the time, I can share my screen and bring them up right now.
I'd love to. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
great. Let's do this. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. There is actually, um, I could send you, and then you could share it with your audience. We actually have a website that is just a gallery of before and afters, but what I'm showing you now is on our general website. It's our case studies. So not only is there before and afters, but it's real life stories, and it shows the renovation amount and then also the profit increase. So you're going to love to see this, because this is, to be honest, this is the proof in the pudding.
Okay.
All right. So you should be able to see this now. Okay, so this is just our general revive.real estate website. And if you go to Why Revive, click on the case study section, and then we actually have some walkthroughs of our properties too before and after, so the video section is cool. So let's say our prepare to sell program, and then choose California. And then the page will bring, and this isn't all, these are just some of our favorites. If Seb, go ahead and pick one. If there's a certain city or location that piques your interest, call it out and I'll open that
Let's
one
see
up.
here. Come on, going. Are there any here in the Bay Area? Let's see here. Oakland, that's close. Let's do that one in or San Mateo. Well, let's do the Oakland one first. Let's do Oakland, then
Okay.
San Mateo.
All right. Actually, this one is probably one of my favorite. So here we go. This is a beautiful property in Oakland, up on the hill, overlooking the shore and the city. And here are some before and afters. You can see those old light boxes. And then I believe that is popcorn ceiling, 70s, 80s cabinets, old orange style tile. You can see the stove on the left here is probably older than I am. And then you can see the after here. We skim troweled and cleaned up the ceiling. We got beautiful new LED cam lights. And then stainless steel appliances are always hot and popular. This particular, I think Oakland in the area, having a darker countertop with, white shaker cabinets is popular. But we'll just keep going. You can see here the before and after of the living room. Obviously, I don't want to say hoarders, but there's just a lot of junk and belongings here. So a lot of what we do is just deep cleaning and deconstruction. And two, I want to mention while we're walking through this, like we can help with staging, but we really like to empower our agents to customize or personalize the listing. And so Seb, like if you had a stager that's bringing in this furniture and, these just different homey pieces of design, you're more than welcome to do that, because typically you have someone locally that can get there a lot quicker than we can. Plus that way it's still your listing and it's got your unique brand on it. So this is actually, I love this bathroom because it's got some beautiful views, but you can see the glass shower on the left here with the freestanding tub. This is what we would call a designer bathroom, designer grade. sure, these might be $40,000, $50,000 bathrooms. However, you're getting a full tiled in glass shower, freestanding tub, a dual luxury vanity or his and hers vanity. Yeah, but this is what gets me excited. As is price, 1.6 million. We did 183 in renovations and generated a whopping 424,000 in additional profit for that homeowner.
And just curious, any idea how long that project took?
Let's see here. Doesn't look like it says on this, and I wasn't the property advisor who helped with this particular one, but I could definitely get back to you on that. But just based on my experience with our projects that are similar to this, I would say, yeah, I would say, especially in the Oakland area, I'd say it was probably 6 to 8 weeks, right in that
Okay.
sweet spot.
Wow. That's amazing. Yeah. That's quite a transformation. Okay. Can we go take a peek at that one in San Mateo real quick?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There you go.
There you go. That one. Yeah.
Right. Cottage style exterior. Okay, so a little bit more updated from the last property we looked at, but just basic prefab cabinets with a porcelain tile countertop. It's definitely out of date. And yeah, very similar kitchen style here. This one we added in a really attractive looking range hood. Actually, I know for sure Becca, she's our senior designer. That looks like her work. I bet she picked those out. Those are cool. Yeah, and a lot of this, and back to the speed and velocity. Like a lot of these properties, they're distressed, outdated, or just neglected, but the bones are good. They just need a facelift, and they need some lipstick, which allows us to move quickly. You can see here we pulled out the carpet that looks like some sort of LVP. LVP is very popular, priced competitively, but very durable because it's got a rubber layer underneath it. And see with this one, nothing special. We installed new toilet, new glass door, but it looks like we kept the shower surround and put in a matching vanity. Updated the kids' room. Yeah, but this one, once again, I'm betting this one probably only took 3 to 4 weeks. This was probably even quicker. You can see here kind of a summary of what we did. But even here, just over 100,000 in renovations and generated 240,000 in profit, which is just, for most people, 240,000, that's life-changing money.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I love the ROI there. I think that's those are numbers that I've seen that I would expect to see numbers like that. Those are both eye-popping, but I think they're also very real. I mean, that's the kind of numbers that I want my homeowners when I work with them to get out of that renovation work. So that's terrific. Well, Jameson, I really appreciate your time. I'm kind of blown away by the whole program. It really sounds fantastic. So I can have homeowners reach out directly to you, and they can get started by just having a quick phone call with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually have more and more homeowners reaching out directly to us because they see the value. Maybe they're a little scared of the economy and market conditions or what they're hearing in the news. So if anything, we'll just have a conversation and provide them solutions, because one of the phrases I like to share is like, we're empowering homeowners to flip their own home. We're providing all the money so they don't have the risk out. And we're allowing them to move on to the next chapter, in their life with a bunch of extra coin in their pocket. And two, actually, just so you know, Seb, because of our partnership with Compass, and just honestly how excited we are to help agents build their business and win more listings and help more people. If we have a homeowner come directly to us, first question I'll say is, hey, do you have an agent that you can trust? And they'll say, no, I was hoping you could place something or place someone with me. And so we're going to find the zip code or market they're in. And then the first thing we're going to do is reach out to our friends, our partners at Compass, and say, hey, Seb, I got a homeowner that's about 3 miles away from your office. Are you available to meet with her? We're already working on a pre-sale renovation plan. And so that's why we're super pumped about this relationship with Compass, because we know if we're bringing deals or referrals to you guys have done concierge before, you see the value, and you're going to take good care of those homeowners.
Well, I think that Revive and Compass are a really good fit. You know, Compass is about bringing superior value to our clients, and I can see that you guys are totally about that too, right? So it's a good partnership, and I'm really excited to start working on some projects with you. So Jameson, hey, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to working with you. I'm sure pretty soon.
Yes, same here, Seb. Thank you for having me. To Seb's audience, please reach out to me with any questions. We'd love to help you.
All right, thanks, Jameson. Catch you
All
later.
right. All right. Bye-bye.
Wow, that sure was a lot of information that Jameson provided to us. And if you want to schedule a meeting with Jameson, in the notes for this video on YouTube, I will have his calendar link, phone number, and email address. And if you'd like to talk to me about what we can do to work together to make sure that you get the very highest amount of money possible when you go to sell your home, then of course feel free to reach out to me directly as well anytime. All right, well listen, I want to thank you so very much for watching this video. I do hope that you have found a lot of value in it, and if you have, I'm guessing you might also enjoy some of these videos over here. These are some of the most popular videos here on my YouTube channel, so please do check those out. All right, thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and please stay tuned.